Hello, this is Sabina at Cross Keys Crafts. Today's card was inspired by my new favourite mug. I bought this a few weeks ago from Asda. I think it was either £1 or £1.75. I bought two mugs, this one and a hedgehog one, and one was £1, one was £1.75, so really cheap. And I looked at that the other day when I put it back in the cupboard, and I looked at this shape and I thought, oh, I can turn that into a sort of round card. And whilst I was taking notes about round cards in my little notebook that I use for new ideas, I also came across the puzzle cards that have been on the internet recently. Sam Calcott made one, and I all of a sudden thought, I can combine this. I can make a little pig card as a puzzle card. So I've already pre-cut a few things. I have used my nesting dies. My nesting dies are really small. This is the whole set except for the one I've taken out here in the middle. And this one's only, let me just measure the outer one, that's just only 4 1/4 wide. So it's not really big. So you can have your own measurements. Obviously you can use, if you've got closer nesting dies, you can vary a bit more. But this will create the pig. And I've also got another round die. This is from a completely different set, and this one, let me just measure that for you, that's 5 1/4. So I will be using this for the base card that the piglet sits on. And I've also have a small oval die that I will use for the ears. So for the pink cardstock, I haven't really got much pink cardstock. So what I've been using here is some packaging. This, I know it's from Germany. I bought some, yeah, as you can see, some stencils there, and I've kept this originally to think I might use the flowers, but obviously the pink cardstock is very good. The only thing is it's very flimsy. So all the pieces that I cut, all the circles, I cut them individually, not like this nesting. I also cut in some heavyweight cardstock. So what I'm going to do first now is I'm going to glue the pink cardstock on all these bases. Yeah, all these things. The only thing I'm not backing up is this little tail. I've just cut this by hand. It's just like a little, can't think, a rocking horse thing, and a little circle there. I left it pointed on one side, round at the other side, because I'm not quite sure yet how I want this, and I have marked where I want to punch it out, and I wanted to show you how I do this. I'm just using my hole punch, and I've taken the base off. If you have obviously one of those crocodile punches, that will be more easier for you. So all I need to do is just slide it in here. Might have to push it in a bit like this, and then I can see where I've marked it, and I don't know if the camera picks that up. And then I can just punch this out, and then, yeah, it's a bit wonky. I might have to cut that again, but you get the idea. I think I might have to draw the circle in a slightly different spot. Yeah, but this will be the tail. So I'm going to do that now, stick these all on, and then I'll show you also how to create the card base. I just had a brainwave, and I thought if I cut this hole first, then I can cut around this for my tail and have it more evenly. I think this will be much easier. You could outline it a bit as well with a pencil, even on the back with a different coloured pen, or obviously if you've got plain cardstock on the back, not black, you can draw on the back and just cut it out then. I always use my nail scissors, by the way, because for all the curves this is so much easier to use. So I should quickly do this then, and I'll come back. For the card base, I have cut 2 of these large circles, and I've covered one with this pattern paper. Obviously, if you have got pattern cardstock that's thick enough, you don't need to do this step, but mine was just thin paper, and this is a 300 GSM cardstock. So I've cut 2. Obviously, you have got the choice of folding paper and then cutting it by laying the circle over this, but leaving it a bit off the edge. Let me just find my circle die that I've just mislaid. Bear with me. couldn't see this on the desk. So if you have got a piece of cardstock on the fold, you can basically lay this over there a bit and then cut this off with a straight line there on the top. But I wanted this whole front to be round, so I'm doing this differently. On the back card, I'm going to score at 1/4. So I'm laying this in my score tool, and just at 1/4 here, I'm just, bear with me again. Apologies for that, I needed my thicker score tool. This one's my pokey tool. So at 1/4, I'm just running my score tool over this. You can have a bit more if you wanted to. You can go at 1/2 or 3/8, but this will do me. So I'm going to fold this now backwards. And apologies, I'm not fully equipped here on the desk at the moment on my craft table because I'm actually sewing in the meantime. So all I need to do now is put some glue on the top here, and I'm just using my collal glue. I also used my collal to glue the papers down. I'm laying this straight on my lines here, so when I put this paper down, I know, and I've got the pattern straight here, I know this will sit straight on the whole bit. And the good thing about the collal glue is you've got a bit of wiggle room, so it's easier to align the whole thing. So I'm leaving that to dry for a moment, and then I'm going to cut a bit of a base off. You don't have to do that, but I want to be able to sit this up, so I'm just cutting a bit straight afterwards. I now need to find the middle of all of these for me to poke a hole through. If I say all of these, not the smallest one, and I'll show you in a moment why. There are different ways of doing that. You can do it on the back and draw on it and make a grid there, but I think the easiest thing to do is to just cut a piece from paper. I just cut the biggest one. I hope that will be enough. And you just fold it in half and fold it again so that you've got the middle of this circle. So, and I'm already poking a hole through that. I have got some packaging foam here which will make it easier to poke through these pieces. So I'm laying this over the top here, and I'm just using my pokey tool and poke through a hole. And I can just use it as an indicator. I will make the holes a bit bigger, but that'll be enough. And I'm hoping now, I'm not quite sure how I wanted to do this, that by aligning this like this, obviously you can cut another circle in that size, but I'm just being a bit lazy. So I'm just turning this over now and do the same thing. When you do the original puzzle card, you have to be a bit more precise, because the way they are designed, you have a continuous pattern. With this little piglet, it doesn't matter if you're a few millimeters out, but I try to get this as even as possible. So it looks good to me anyway. So I'm going to make these holes a bit bigger now by using a bigger pokey tool and just poking through. What I need is a hole that I can put one of these breads through, and these are the bigger ones. So I need this to be as smooth as possible. And I will also, if I've got any excess here on the top, I will cut that away. And because we're covering it up anyway, it doesn't matter how if it is a bit untidy, the hole, as long as it's big enough for these circles to move freely. Whilst I was doing that, I thought I'd better show you. So I'm actually using my nail scissors as well, so that I will have a decent hole in here, and then I just use my nail scissors to cut all this excess off. As I said, it doesn't mean if it doesn't matter if this is a bit untidy, as long as it's fairly flat. Before we assemble these circles now, we need to do a bit of colouring. I already had a little trial run here on the side, and my cardstock, although it's a bit smoother, takes to alcohol markers really nicely. So what I'm doing with the oval here is, because this will be the two ears, I'm just drawing an oval here on the inside, and I'm colouring this in. Sorry if my camera's wobbling, I'm not quite sure why it does that today. I might have to fix it in a second. So, and then also I've got my Sharpie here. I need to just make sure I've got the right sizes. Yeah, this one will hold the eyes, which I have cut out with my hole punch, because I always struggle. Oh, that's the wrong one. There it is. Because I always struggle to get proper round eyes, so I thought I'd rather cut them. But this will hold a mouth, so I'm just putting a smiley mouth on. Be aware though, this will be covered with the snout, so this needs to go as low as possible. I think I'll just leave it as a little one. And this needs two nostrils, so I think I will just do some big ones like this. Try to get them as evenly as possible. Yeah, I think that'll do me. Hope you can see what I'm doing. Just let me zoom in a little bit. There we go. So I'm leaving these to dry for a moment. I'm not sticking the eyes on yet, because I think that'll matter in how I put these on. But I'm cutting this in half, the ears in half, and they will be glued onto the biggest circle. So they will just go in the back. Oh, sorry, I need to zoom out again. They will just go in the back, and it's up to you how far out you want them. I think this looks about right for a piglet. So I'm gluing these on with a collal again, just a little bit on the back, overlapping, and then I'll show you how to assemble the card. I just realised that my Piggy doesn't have any feet, so I'm just cutting these from this spare cardstock. I just need some sort of squarish ones, so as I will be gluing them onto the cardstock, they don't need to be backed up. And you see what I did there, just a wriggly line, and I just need two of these. And with this one, I just realised, because it will overlap a bit on the card, I will just colour this a bit on the back so you can't see the pattern from the cardstock. Obviously, as I said before, if you've got heavyweight pink cardstock, you won't have to do this. So I thought it would be funny if I actually glued the feet and the tail down on the card. As I said before, this one will overlap a little bit, but doesn't matter. So using this as a reference, and you can see this already overlaps a little bit the ears, but again, it doesn't matter. I think it'll be easier to grab them as well. I'm just going to glue these down here. I'm putting them at an angle. If you want them straight, you have to cut them a little bit longer. But these will be fine here. And again, because you've got the collal glue, I can just test this now whether I'm happy with it. Can move them out a little bit. Try to have them even though. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that. And this one will just sit on the edge there. So I'm not putting too much glue on, only on the bit that actually sits on the card. And I think I will have a 6x6 envelope anyway, so it'll fit in there nicely. So just checking that again. Yeah, I'm happy with this. Okay, so I'll leave this to dry now. And now I can assemble these. I have got a bread. I chose a pink one, but it doesn't really matter what colour it is. And I'm taking this one with a mouth, poking this through there. and trying to push it down as much as I can. So then I've got the bigger one here, and then this one goes through the back one. So I can always see it is not very centered, but it doesn't matter. The important thing is that you can actually move these freely. And I can actually open this up a little bit, put my scissors underneath, and give that a bit of space, because then these will move more freely. Yeah, it's easier to move now. So what I need to do now is just to stick the snout on the middle bit, and all I'm doing here now is I'm going to put a bit of red tape in the middle and then just stick this one down, and then I'm going to put the eyes where I think they fit nicely. If I put them out there, that'll give me an idea. And you can create a different look by moving the eyes about. I think I want them a bit higher, but closer to the center. Yeah, I think that's a good spot for them. So I shall glue this down now, and then I'll show you how to attach it to the card to be able to maneuver the bread. Because this is a bit raised now in the back, and you need to have this a bit loose, you need to have some foam pads on the back to be able to work the mechanism. So I'm just popping a few on here. I'm just thinking I'm doing this wrong, because then I can't move the ears. Oh, I think I need another, sorry about that, I think I need another circle here. Let me think for a second. Yes, you need one more circle, so I've decided to do the smaller one, and that doesn't interfere with the ears then. So I need to pop that in, and then this one will be stuck on. Sorry about that. I will put a disclaimer at the beginning of the video. So again, make sure these all move freely. Yeah, that's fine now. So I will stick this on now with my foam pads. So just thinking whether I need to move further away from there, because I need to be able to move around the front. Yes. So leave some space for the ends of the breads. You can obviously shorten these a little bit. So I'm just putting the foam tape around like this. So when you stick it down now, it doesn't really matter if it's wriggly like this, but you want the outer circle here to match the feet and the tail you've just put down. So I'll try to do it as evenly as possible on either side, and then I can just drop this down. So, and now I can move this round. What I want to do though now is on the circle where I've got the eyes, oh by the way, I used my white gel pen to give the eyes a bit of a character. So what I want to do now is just to give Piglet a few nice cheeks as well. I'm just looking, there's a bit of residue from the white there. So just some circles here. Do I want them there? No, I want them here. Try to get it evenly on the other side. Yeah. So, and now you've got a puzzle card. So this can be moved about, this can be moved about. So ideally when you hand it over, it should be all wonky, so that the recipient can then figure out themselves how to get it back in order. So the ears up there, there are the eyes, and this is already one piece. So they can even move the snout about. That can go upside down. So yeah, if you like this card, you might want to give me a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more of what I'm creating, actually quite like this, the snout is a bit sideways now. Yeah, if you'd like to see more of what I'm creating, you might want to subscribe to my channel. I'd be very happy about that. And I'll see you soon with another video.